This is the primal scream of a dying regime.
Pray for our enemies, because we're going medieval on these people. You're just not got a free shot on all these networks lying about the people. The people have had a belly full of it. I know you don't like hearing that. I know you try to do everything in the world to stop that, but you're not going to stop it. It's going to happen.
And where do people like that go to share the big lie? MAGA media. I wish, in my soul, I wish that any of these people had a conscience.
Ask yourself, what is my task and what is my purpose? If that answer is to save my country, this country will be saved.
War Room. Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
Friday, 31st of July, Anno Domini 2026. Harnwell here at the helm on Steve Bannon's War Room. Welcome to Friday evening. The start of your weekend is here. First up guest tonight is George Weinberg, born originally in Poland, naturalized American citizen. Having spent now a number of years in Germany, he is the chairman of Republicans Abroad Germany, noted across the media, especially in Germany, as a strong defendant in the public space of President Donald Trump. George Weinberg, many thanks indeed for joining us on Steve Bannon's War Room today.
Hi, very, very nice talking to you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Now, let's start off. We had last week on the show, we had an AfD, an Alternative for Deutschland member of the European Parliament, Peter Bystrom, who made the claim that he did not think that the German Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, was even going to be able to stay in office for the remainder of his term. He actually said that the elections coming up, he said that the CDU, the Christian Democratic Union, is a dead man walking, and the elections this September, certainly in some of the eastern German states, are going to be the funeral. And, you know, some people said, well, that's a strong, bold, confident claim for the AfD to be making. But as we see this week, events really seem to be confirming the AfD's optimism, and in his desperation because of his imploding statistics in the polls, Friedrich Merz, the Chancellor, has had a very hasty reshuffle of his cabinet, forced by the resignation in disgrace of his parliamentary leader, who'd been caught basically buying a baby from the United States for him and his husband. And Friedrich Merz thought, obviously, a reshuffle might be the opportunity to bring some vigor back in. Now, as a strong voice in MAGA in Germany, George Weinberg, I'd like to ask you, what is your reading of these events in Germany right now? How are Germans reacting to this reshuffle, and will it be enough to stop the inevitable wave happening of the AfD's ascent to power?
Well, you know, I was actually visiting CPAC just several months ago in Dallas. And basically my statement, and I'm still more and more persuaded to, in my opinion, that this firewall, you have the situation right now that, you know, CDU and CSU, what used to be the old conservative party, is now very, very weak, especially to the coalition with the socialists. Socialists are really pushing the conservative party in very, very leftist direction. And, excuse me, and what it's mean that even right now in Germany, if you take to the consideration, you know, the votes and basically the spirit we have an absolutely conservative majority politically, and still people are very frustrating with the current government. And this firewall, what is basically have been creating from CDU, meaning we don't want to cooperate with AfD. And, just a year ago, 2 years ago, even the tendency from what they call democratic center, what this, in my opinion, democratic center as a kind of new created word is a BS, and they've been trying to prohibit even the AfD by legal sense. They didn't succeed with this, since the arguments and the legal position, they had a very weak position. So right now is really the situation that in the three eastern states in September, we're going to have local elections. And the local elections, in these local elections is the AfD very, very strong. They have about over 40% right now is the prognosis that they're going to win, at least in the two states. The one state is Berlin, they are by 20%. And the question will be really what's happened. If the AfD gonna have the majority, they're supposed to create the government by this particular states, and the CDU will be gone. Especially that they have about 20% only.
Let's talk about the elections. Let's talk about the elections in a moment. I want to dig down on what you were saying in the first part of your answer, because this is very important. And I say this for our largely American audience. We do have an international audience, but it's largely US based. And you started off talking about exactly the thing that is the most, when talking about the ascent of the AfD, which is the firewall, the Brandmauer. I think is the German term for this. And the fact that you have said that the firewall is failing, I think is the first illustration that the German political establishment realizes now to itself that it's confronted with a problem that its combined collective efforts have not been able to deal with. And that is that, and in fact, some commentators, and I am one of them, actually think one of the reasons why the AfD is so strong now is because the establishment's created this firewall, and they've basically divided German politics into a binary form. It's the AfD and the non-AfD parties. Now, just a quick word when we're talking about this firewall, because Germany is a proportional representation system, it is the usage of German politics that one party can't really govern by itself and therefore needs to have a coalition. And the point about the firewall is all of the other political parties have basically said, we will form a coalition amongst ourselves. We will never bring the AfD into that coalition in order to govern. And that's not only at the federal level, it's also at the state and local level as well. It was an attempt by the political establishment to isolate the AfD, and by isolating the AfD indicate their unelectability, their unviability, the fact that the AfD was considered by the political establishment to be so beyond the pale. None of the other political parties would go into coalition with them. So you ask yourself, one asks oneself, well, what was it about the AfD fundamentally that makes them so untouchable politically? It's their opposition to the invasion. And when George Weinberg here comes on the War Room and says that the firewall is failing, this is an indication that that strategy of the German political establishment has failed, basically. And one of the ways that you can see that it's failed, of course, is because the AfD is now on like 40% in some of the eastern states. In Berlin, which is never traditionally its stronghold, I think it's sort of now slightly ahead of the CDU itself. So just bring that together once again, George Weinberg, for me, and indicate for our audience just the difficulty that the CDU, and again, I suppose by extension, the socialists, the liberals and all this, that they now have, because they having formed this binary politics of it's us versus the AfD, that's now rebounded because Germans in increasing numbers don't want their country to be overrun by third world illegal invasions. So they have one choice if they want to do something about it, and that's vote for the AfD. And that's why the AfD is moving so far ahead. So just say that again for the audience, what this means when you say that the firewall is failing.
Well, basically, the firewall is something very artificial, and the AfD basically, in my opinion, is a conservative party, as used to be CDU. Many points that CDU used to have on the agenda right now have been taken by AfD. That's not only the immigration, stop the immigration, to get the criminals, they came to the country illegally, get them out. But there are some other issues of energy, of nuclear power, of, cars. They are basically still running on gasolines, and this whole walk issues, about gender, that what basically the socialists and the Greens are creating. They are 70 plus gender, and the AfD basically, but CDU actually as well, in opinion, what it's absolutely the only one way. There are two sexes, so that's it. And so it's basically the point is, Merz, before he got elected, he promised to do many things that he actually didn't kept after the election. And so the voters in Germany are very disappointed about his movement to the left, and look like he really like to have the job, but he is not. He's not to the job, and even in the CDU and CSU, there are some already movements against Merz. And before he got elected, he said that he gonna make the electoral power of AfD to put them to the health what they have been before. And it's really opposite happens, that AfD was growing and growing, and the CDU basically is now a half of percentage that was before he got as a chancellor. So that's currently the situation. And I was actually trying to bring CPAC to Germany, and I was talking to some conservative people in Germany to organize CPAC in Germany, and they told me we have to wait. We have to wait till elections in September. And by the way, the AfD is not only 40% plus percent in the eastern part of Germany, but as well in the west part of Germany, the percentage that AfD has is about 20 plus percent. So they're pretty strong. And we will see what's really happened, especially that the CDU in one of the states in the eastern part, they said they're not going to move. Even if they're going to lose the election, they might try to stay in power, even with the voices of support of the lefts, Greens, and the very old left, the party that used to be by the old DDR party.
Die Linke.
Linke, exactly. So we will see really what's happened, you know. I would say, you know, in the US, you have these two parties, and if somebody, you know, might have tried to cheat or do something that the voters doesn't want to accept, as used, at least Americans, they are carrying weapons. So there are some discussions. Unfortunately, you know, it's a different tradition in Europe and in Germany. If this really might came to very controversial political situation, we really don't know what's happened. You know, we really don't know what's happened.
George Weinberg, stay with me just one quick moment. I have to do a shout out. I've got to pay some bills. Quick shout out to Birch Gold. Buy some gold right now and use the opportunity to put some silver in your pocket as well. I know what you're thinking. Everything's expensive right now. How am I going to buy gold? Well, pull your head out of the sand. And one thing you can control right now that doesn't cost you anything out of pocket is diversifying your retirement savings. Birch Gold Group will help you convert an old 401k from a previous employer or an IRA into a physical IRA in gold. Something that's a hedge against inflation. And listen to this right now. Birch Gold is going to give you a special America 250 1 ounce silver round for every $10,000 you purchase. And that offer is made available by Philip Patrick and his team right now. So text Bannon to 989898 to take advantage of Philip Patrick and his team's expertise right now in helping you to diversify your savings. Once again, text Bannon, BANNON, to the number 989898. Back with my guest tonight, George Weinberg, chairman of Republicans Overseas Germany. George, let me ask you this. Two things I want to quickly mention to you, and we only have like 5 minutes left here. First of all, in your analysis, you mentioned just a few moments ago that you actually think that AfD is a conservative party. I want to ask you what you mean by that, because if you based your analysis, if one were to base one's analysis only on the mainstream media, one would think that AfD was some far-right, crypto-fascist, crypto-Nazi political party. And yet here you are saying, actually, it's a conservative political party that I presume your argument is that it simply entered the space that's been vacated by the CDU. That is to say, the party of Friedrich Merz isn't the party of Helmut Kohl, who was obviously the landmark chancellor of 30 years ago who united Germany. Things have changed since those days. Tell me more, if you wouldn't mind, about why you think the AfD is broadly a regular conservative political party, apart from on the one issue which defines politics these days, and that is their opposition to the Third World illegal invasion.
Well, there are many subjects in the program. They are basically very simple, and they are based off common sense. What it's mean basically, you have the president, we have the president Trump that is coming really with a common sense program, conservative program, to support people. They are working hard. They want to the very highest taxation in Germany is, if you're making, like over 100,000 euro in a year, you have a 50% taxation. So if you're working, whole year, 6 months, you are working for nothing without any salary. So AfD program has basically to reduce the taxation in Germany very significantly. And then basically to move the retirements for the people. The CDU now is talking about people have to work till the age of 70. And we have in Europe, like in Greece or in France, people, they are getting retirement already with 62 or 60 years. And so basically the average German, of course, is very upset. They want to subsidize other countries. And so there are many issues why the AfD is now so popular in Germany, based on this common sense. And you just got with the news what's happened now in Spain. There was the invasion from Morocco, 60,000 people. They just came to EU ground. And if you see who is coming, they are not families or people, they are well educated or whatever. 60,000 men.
They're not doctors and lawyers who are coming in. You saw the footage today of the last 40 hours, as has basically anyone with a social media account in the world. Just very quickly, what is the reaction been to that in Germany? Here in Italy, for example, Giorgia Meloni has said that she will ask for Spain's suspension from the Schengen zone of free movement of people within the European Union. I think that's a somewhat performative response, and I don't think she'll actually achieve that. But at least she has said that to indicate to the Italian people that she takes this very seriously. What has the government in Germany said in response to this alarming footage of what's basically an invasion? I mean, that's why we call it an invasion. You see tens of thousands of North Africans storming the border controls in the Spanish sovereign enclave of Ceuta up on the North African coast, and the border control effectively unable or unwilling to stop that taking place. What has been the response from the German government right now, George Weinberg?
I didn't, I was listening to the news maybe an hour before we had this conversation. There was no any public statement from anybody from the current government. So I don't know what will be the reaction. The fact is that Germans' borders are not really well protected. Then the Greens and the leftists and part of the SPD are welcoming these people. They think this is some treasury for the German public and German government. And the problem is that the German social security is very high comparing to other EU countries like Bulgaria or even Italy and so on. So we can assume that the invasion or the illegal people that came to the EU, they will definitely land one day in Germany and be entitled for the social security, German social security, what is, very high. These people have a free health insurance, they have a cash on hand, they are protected in terms of housing and many privileges that in other EU are not available, available for illegal people that are coming to the country. So that's why they're staying in Germany, and it's a problem. It's very difficult to get them out since they have legal protection. The Greens or SPD is providing to them legal assistance so they can claim for asylum, and sometimes takes years that their decision that they are not entitled to stay in the country, but then they disappear and the police are looking for them and cannot find them. We don't have eyes.
Let me just stop you there, because we've reached the end of our allotted time. George Weinberg, very, very grateful for you to come on the show and share firsthand your experiences as an American in Germany, especially with regards to the AfD. Very quickly, where do people go if they want to support the Republicans Overseas Germany branch and support what you're doing?
Well, we have our page, and we're gonna be very soon able to have some account for donation.
There you go, folks. That's where you can find it right now. Just go to Republicans Overseas Germany on Twitter and give George Weinberg a follow. I want to thank Aaron Agashahi for his help in bringing on George Weinberg as a guest today. Folks, stand by. 2 minutes. We've got England's most beloved patriotic activist, Ryan the Lion Mainbridge, co-founder of Raise the Colours. He'll be with us to explain the recent press accounts of what's been going on. Stay with us. Back in 2 minutes.
Hello, America's Voice family.
Are you on Getter yet? No?
What are you waiting for?
It's free.
It's uncensored, and it's where all the biggest voices in conservative media are speaking out.
Download the Getter app right now. It's totally free. It's where I put up exclusively all of my content 24 hours a day. You want to know what Steve Bannon's thinking? Go to Getter.
That's right. You can follow all of your favorites. Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, Jack Posobiec,
and so many more.
Download the Getter app now.
Sign up for free and be part of the movement.
Welcome back. Well, folks, you know how you know for sure that you have arrived at the weekend? Friday evening, end of the weekend, is because you're watching War Room and we've got Ryan Bridge. If we don't have Ryan Bridge to close out the War Room, it's not truly the start of the weekend. Okay, so Ryan the Lion, we've got so much to go through with you today. Let's do in the first part of this, and the time is going to race by. Let's do these two stories of first from The Guardian, very quickly. Birmingham Council has now been accused of giving free rein, and I quote, scare quotes, free rein, to a group erecting England flags. That's you. Tell us your reaction to this. They've spoken to a whole load of supposedly local people, fake names though, calling for an injunction against RTC. And then we'll quickly pivot to this thing about, again, the BBC covers this, about the suppression, ongoing legal suppression. This time, they're trying to get you for the fact that RTC, you yourself, your colleagues, had the interview and various footage inside the World Courts of Justice. And then after we do the ad read and the second half of the interview, we'll go and discuss Chris Philp, because finally the most performative political entity in the world, the Conservative Party, has been watching the War Room clearly and watching Ryan the Lion, and they've sent their shadow Home Secretary out to the English Channel to watch the invaders as they're coming in. Stand by for that. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. But Ryan, tell us, The Guardian, right? This is probably these days one of the most authoritative newspapers in the UK. Pretty strong on international coverage as well. Here they are trying to make it look as if you do not have the local citizenry's support. It's Friday. It's been a long week. Citizenry's support. Of course you do. But you've obviously tell us RTC's reaction to the Guardian piece. Tell us what's in there and what are you going to do about it?
All right, guys. So this is just another woke liberal left paper that he's heckling along with Birmingham City Council. This is the minority of the public, and these people have got the woke power, you see, and that they have getting together and teaming up and writing these ridiculous stories, these stupid articles. We bring joy and happiness to the whole of Birmingham and the surrounding areas in the UK, erecting flags around the country to show patriotism, unity, togetherness, and to show that we're against the illegal invasion. We want to keep our identity and we will not stop. So even though they've had a little bit of a result in Oxford, they haven't had it across the board. And I think that they're just knocking on that door to try and jeer up a bit of anti-flag. So that's what we'll call it, anti-flag, anti-country.
All right. I like that. I'm quoting on that. RTC, raise the colours. When you're out and about raising the flags, you are bringing joy and happiness, right?
Yeah,
and if you don't like it, basically suck on that. One thing here was they said that apparently you guys have a set script that you go through when people are coming up trying to stop you raising the English flag or the Union flag, and they the flag of St. George and the Union flag. And they say, basically, they start off talking about the flag and patriotism and pivot quickly to stopping the boats. I don't think there is any discontinuity between these two things, but I'll give you a quick opportunity to respond to that.
Yeah. So with us raising the flag in our country, we're not doing anything to cause division or anything like that. This is our flag we are losing our identity in our country, and we are raising that flag on lampposts, and we're symbolising that we feel that we're losing our heritage. Not only is our country being invaded at a rapid rate. I mean, we had an assault on our country where these people traffickers from Europe and from North Africa have constructively unloaded an assault from the whole of the north region of France, and simultaneously launched small boat dinghies with at least 100 men on each. And we had 7 boats with 100 men on each boat, and they come all at one time to evade the French from doing their pitiful job that they do. And we're symbolising that we are supporting people that are scared. We're supporting women, children, men that may be scared of people coming into our country. And the main thing is we're losing our identity. And it's because, back to papers like The Guardian, it's because the Birmingham City Council and these liberal woke left. And what these people are doing is they're taking away our identity. They're shutting down local pubs. They're doing everything they can to take away British history. And we are now inviting people, because we are letting these people in. We're inviting them from a third world to just get on these small boat dinghies, come across to England. We'll give you a 5-star hotel with 3 meals a day. You can have free driving lessons. You can learn the English language. And I don't think that our taxes and the British taxpayer should be doing this. I think our forefathers and our grandfathers have fought too hard for our freedom of speech and our freedom, and I will speak up. That's where
Ryan, just very quickly before we pivot off subject, you saw the footage coming out of those 2 Spanish enclaves in Morocco as the whole world is watching this, as the Spanish border controls are being overrun by African invaders. Do you just have give me 60 seconds on your response to that? Is that not the very essence? Is that not the very metaphor of the decline of the European Union to defend the integrity of its borders?
Completely right. I mean, you're completely right. And let's not make this isn't a one-off occasion, because if you think that what you've seen, I don't know how many thousands there were that was invading from Morocco into Spain, but when they done this, it's just that it was captured on film. This is happening day in, day out. There is near on 19 million people from West Africa looking to come to the UK on a 6-month period. That we've had reports from NGOs, non-government organisations. So this is just that it was captured on video, because the day before the UK got invaded by 700 people, men. And it's not reported. It's just a figure on a piece of paper. So it's a real shame. But I just want to say one thing. I'm so glad that I've seen some strength and some honour in the Spanish military, literally laying the law down with smoke grenades, with hard resistance. Because what we're doing, we're just assisting them in. We're actually chauffeuring them in on a taxi boat.
Chauffeuring them in and giving the 5-star hotel accommodation and 3 square meals a day on the taxpayer dime. Yeah, I mean, at least the Spanish military. I mean, I think. I mean, I've also seen some of the footage. They're basically just standing there videoing with their phones the invaders as they're flooding in across the border. But it's whatever. Even that is better than what PC Plod would be doing if this were taking place as it is in the UK. Stay with me, Ryan. Back in just quick 2 minutes. Quick shout out to the second half of today's show's 2 sponsors. Start off with Home Title Lock. Folks, you are all aware now how AI, artificial intelligence, can clone your voice. Has the capacity also from publicly available material on the internet to quite convincingly forge your signature and create fake documents that fool even the experts themselves. And of course, entirely to be expected, criminals are using these tools right now to steal from American citizens. It's called title fraud. Your property records are public by law. If you want to find out what the status is, to see whether anyone has been stealing anything, because of course you will only really find out once the documents start coming in through the post that someone else is borrowing money against their asset, which used to belong to you. Their asset now, legally, is their asset. If you want to know what the situation is, get yourselves to HomeTitleLock.com. Promo code Steve to get your free title history report, plus their famous and renowned free trial of $1 million for triple lock protection, so you can make sure that you're not already a victim. So once again, HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Steve. And whilst I'm at it, quick shout out as well to All Family Pharmacy. Go to the great folks down there at allfamilypharmacy.com/Bannon. They have a quick online medical form that you can complete, and a licensed doctor there will review your information and determine if a prescription is appropriate. And if approved, your medications can be shipped directly to your home or wherever you might be traveling. So there's no need to be caught out and find yourself, if you have left home, haven't got your medicines with you. Don't think yourself as being in difficulty. So use promo code Bannon25 there with allfamilypharmacy.com/Bannon. Once again, promo code Bannon25. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Bannon. Use that promo code Bannon25 for 25% off site-wide offer. And they'll take great care of you. All right, back to Ryan the Lion Bridge. So the Tory party, performative as it is, has got their guy out, their shadow Home Secretary out in the English Channel. Well, at least he's there, right? So at least it's not just going to be Nigel Farage on his Todd. You've got the Tories there. Not sure that they're ever going to do anything, even if they are in power, but at least they're there. This actually did have international resonance this week because the French frigate supposedly was firing on the shadow Home Secretary. Isn't that right, Ryan Bridge?
Correct.
Firing on him. They're trying to blow him out of the water.
Yeah, so obviously I've met Chris Phelps. I've met him on 3 occasions now. I went to the policy exchange and seen him reveal his policy on immigration if he was to be elected. He's the shadow Home Secretary. So this is the guy that's saying it. If he's in power, this is what he would do. We now have obviously Labour in power, and you've got Shabana Mahmood, which she's doing absolutely that. She's doing zilch. She's doing absolutely nothing. If anything, she's giving them more funding, more aid to get more people on these small boat dinghies across. That's my opinion. But Chris Phelps is saying, I will do this, I will do that, and I will stop these boats, and we can stop it. So I spoke to him in Parliament, and we had a chat, and I told him all about Raise the Colours, and he had a lot of time for me. And I did change my thoughts on the Conservative guy, because I thought, well, he seems a really nice guy. He seems he's got the right act. And I'm pleased to say he's carried it out, and he has been on the beaches, he's been in the camps, and he has literally used his platform to show that you can stop these boats, to show that it's facilitated, to show that the French gendarmes are there handing out life jackets and waving them off. But like you say, he said that he heard gunshots and the frigate was firing upon him. And if that's the story that needs to grip the public, then happy days. But for me, just to see a member of Parliament from the UK Parliamentary Party, the Conservatives that have just lost power, to see somebody that high up in the water, on those beaches where Raise the Colours have been, I was very, very proud.
Yeah, I get the point that this is an indication of how the political debate is moving, because even this would have been unthinkable, I don't know, this time last year, this time 3 years ago, 5 years ago. So there is that changing. I personally have no faith, and I doubt I'll ever trust the Tory party again. But I'm interested. I've not met this guy, Chris Phelps. You've met him. You've spoken to him at length in Parliament. And I'll trust your opinion on this, even though I'll never trust the Tories. Just tell me a bit more why you think he's for real. Because listen, Ryan, no one's going to have a greater sense of whether they're being BS'd by some smarmy politician than you. Because you are right now going through the meat grinder in order to support RTC, the sacrifice and the commitment on a personal level. You'll realise within a few seconds, you personally will realise within a few seconds whether someone is really seriously interested in what you're saying, or whether they're just doing the smarmy, oily politician shtick just to get rid of you. Tell me again about the conversation that you had and why you are going to give this guy and the Tories a second chance. Because all the Tories have ever done to the British people since Margaret Thatcher was in power, that is, say, after Margaret Thatcher, every leader they've had after Margaret Thatcher, not Margaret Thatcher herself, right, has been a betrayal of the country, of the Tory party and of the national interest. Just tell me why you have a different reading of this guy specifically.
So I think that this guy, he seems genuine. He seems a family man. He seems to have the morals and standards that I have. He seems, he seems a normal guy from a normal background, normal community. And I think he's in a role that he's too big for his boots, because he wasn't shadow at the time of the Tories in party. But when Boris Johnson, the guy with the very smart haircut, when Boris Johnson was in charge, this guy who's on the screen now was in parliamentary. So he was there whilst Boris Johnson, Tory leader, and his number two were basically letting this happen and facilitating it across. So I was very sad to learn that this guy was in power and was in the parliamentary seats then, when the invasion by the small boat dinghy started all these years ago. So it was quite upsetting. But after speaking to him, he's highlighting it for his party. Whether he does any good if he was in, and whether he sticks to his words, another story. Because I also agree with you, the Tories have let us down since Thatcher. All the way through. And Rishi Sunak, who was Prime Minister, he said, if you let this guy, meaning the clown that we've just got rid of, if we let him into power, it will ruin the country even more. And Rishi Sunak, I didn't trust him as far as I could throw him. And then they let the next guy in, and this is where we're at now. We are getting overrun time and time again. We've now got this guy, Andy Burnham, in place. He's not even addressing it. He's not talking about it. 4 people died. Now, whether they're illegal invaders, economic invaders, or whatever they are, 4 human beings have died trying to get in these small boat dinghies. There was every sort of military, helicopter, fire, ambulance, police on those beaches in France. So if they can do it when somebody's died, why can't they do it when someone's attempting to leave? It seems to be orchestrated. And for them to do a full military style assault all the way up the coast and launch boats simultaneously, I mean, this would cost a drone. Put a drone in the air and let's just watch to see what happens. And this can be stopped. I don't know why they're bringing these people. I don't know if it's contractual for the hotels. I don't know if it's because of... I don't know anybody who works for Deliveroo, Amazon, Uber Eats, Just Eats, but these companies are going bigger and bigger and bigger. They're the biggest companies in the country, and I don't know who's facilitating their work staff.
Ryan, I'm grateful for your analysis on that. Just look, we've got about 60 seconds left. Tell me if you wouldn't mind, because this has been on the BBC. Apparently, someone is trying to launch an injunction against you because of the film footage you took when you were in the Royal Courts of Justice.
Yeah, so I was in the Royal High Courts of Justice, the highest court in the land, and outside the court, somebody done a quick interview with me, and now the woke liberal left are now saying I should be took to court for taking a video within a court. It should be all thrown out, and that I should be arrested and locked up again. They're just trying to pin anything they can on me, anything they can to stop my voice, to stop what's gone on. It didn't go their way. They've obviously spent hundreds of thousands of pounds trying to get us imprisoned or heavily fined for putting the flag up of our country in our country. And it's it's what they're trying to do. It's what the left do. They're putting pen to paper as opposed to us putting a ladder to a lamppost or a flag to a lamppost.
Okay, look, let me tie all this together then. As I say, I'm never going to trust the Tory party again.
No.
They've betrayed me and the country far too many times. However, you suggest to take a second look at Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary. Here's when I will do that, when he puts out a press release in support of you in opposition to these nonsense charges at the Royal Courts of Justice, right? If there's no political support from him, a Shadow Home Secretary, then thanks very much, Chris. Great footage. Love to see you out there in English Channel. Glad you got so much social engagement. But I am all in for Nigel Farage and Reform UK. Yeah. Right? He was there in the channel for years.
British. Yeah, I agree. We need a pro-British government.
And some substance, right? All right, Ryan Bridge, where do people go on social media to keep up with you are my favourite NGO in the UK. Where do people go to give you support?
RaiseTheColours.org.uk. Thank you very much. Just follow us on there. Thank you.
There you go. And you can also get on there, go get yourself some merch and support Ryan the Lion and Raise the Colours watch at it. Folks, that's all we've got time for. End of the show. Steve, back in the chair, 10 a.m. tomorrow. My thanks to Rob, a real America's Voice, and Vittorio Franchi Santo for putting this particular show together, as he does every Friday. God bless for now.